Hello and welcome to Nano Yoga. Welcome to my channel. My name is Nanaco. I am currently creating these conversation types videos. This week's topic is 5 tips to inspire nurturing friendships. I'm talking about how hard it is to make friends as an adult. As you probably know, and that's why you're watching this one. And then because this is on the topic that I feel is very vulnerable, because lacking friendships is something that we don't want to admit, because we still have this thing from school of like the popularity complex and being neglected, and it goes back to obviously being rejected from a community, which therefore you could survive as a human being way back in the day, because there was no comforts like supermarkets and Uber Eats, etc. Not that I use it, because as you can see I live in the forest, but yeah, this is all about friendship. I've written way more about this. This is a really condensed version with the 5 tips of what I've written in Substack. If you would like to join, feel free to become a paid subscriber. You can join for free and read a little bit of it. Some of them are free, other Substacks. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Every view counts, and I'm really grateful that you're watching this. Thank you so much. And next week, as I said, or when you watch the next video, it'll be a yoga inspired Yin Yoga on vulnerability, which kind of goes in hand with it. So if you had a bit of friction or lost a friend, because that is a grieving process if you lose a friend or friendship or a group, this yin will feel really nice and yummy. So that will be in the next video. So the 5 tips, I'll get straight to it. Number 1, it's a reminder that you're not unlikable, you're not a loser, and people don't want to be friends with you, is like this lie that we kind of all tell ourselves. For if you identify as female, then perhaps also when you are kind of nearer to your period, if you know your cycle of your period, the natural cycle of your period, the 4 phases, perhaps the week before or right around when you are going to have your period might be that sort of time where you kind of want to cocoon, where you're not feeling very sociable, but you kind of need to be around people. It's a bit of a weird one. So there could be also that, but generally speaking, social media has compounded this sense that we need to have loads of friends and we need to be having parties. I mean, I can't imagine if you are like a young adult or a teenager what it must feel like now to have social media, because that I was at the start of it when I just sort of became a young adult. At 17, 18 is when Facebook first started for us millennials, and that definitely was a thing of not being invited to somewhere. Another tip, if you haven't been invited to something, if that did happen, just tell that person next time, I'd love to be invited next time when you have the event, instead of being like, why wasn't I invited? And then creating this whole thing, and then obviously they'll think you're a bit weird, and then they won't want to invite you because you acted emotionally rather than not realizing that perhaps it wasn't the right crowd or time, or they thought you were busy or didn't know you were interested. So I guess that's 1.5 tips. So yeah, you are lovable, you are likable, and you are someone that is a good friend to someone. So that's the number 1 reminder, I think. Number 2 is the routine. I have to say, I'm a little bit like this, flowy when it comes to routine. I hate it. So if I know that it's good for you, I guess. And I really love this tip. This tip I've heard from 2 different friendship related when I did the research podcast. This one was ages ago. Danielle Bayard Jackson, she is a friendship coach. Her podcast called Friend Forward is really good. I really like her. And of course the famous Mel Robbins, she just popped up recently with her with 2 podcasts about friendship actually, and one of them was the same that Danielle also advocates for, to create friendships, making nurturing friendships, and it is to go to a place. I mean, it could be any place where people come and go, and so they suggest a coffee shop. I'm not sure if for you that's appropriate, maybe a co-working space, but a coffee shop is one that vibes with you. That's not just like an in and out sort of coffee shop, maybe a bit more of a quiet one where you can kind of work, but you can also chat, and going there every week at the same time, inviting a friend maybe they'll invite other friends in the future and just creating that time. Mel Robbins, for example, says 9 a.m. every Saturday, and that's what they do. So I really love that idea, because I love the idea of just knowing one time a week that you'll be able to meet these people that you love, that are your friends. And the more time you spend with people, this is actually something I didn't add, which I will add on my Substack, it takes a lot of hours to form a friendship. And I remember when I had therapy after my dad passed away, which I was really lucky, just for a couple of weeks, I think, or maybe a few months. Haven't had it since. But my dad passed, and then it was COVID, and I was kind of frustrated with my friendships. As you can see, it's the forest, so I have to really go out of my way to meet people, which is something that I talk about in other tip. But it takes, she just was kind of like, she didn't say you're being impatient, but friendship takes time, and vulnerability and all the things that come with friendship and depth. I think some of us, myself included, really want to have a really deep friendship, and that just takes time and trust, and you just got to be patient, which is not what I wanted to hear. Tip number three is kind of on the same note of the amount of hours. I cannot remember on the top of my head, but I've already had one. There is research that says that it does take a certain number of hours to form like a friend, and then like a close friend, and then all of these sort of types of friends that we tend to connect with socially. So pursuing your friends is tip number 3. I think I already said that. I think it's so uncomfortable. Again, it comes back to this theme of vulnerability, to reach out to someone, because I guess we're worried about being rejected. And no doubt, if you're a working adult, most people are busy. If you are in your late 20s, early 30s, or in your 30s onwards, people have kids, they're busy, so you have to kind of meet them where they're at, which I don't think should be a problem. But everyone's schedule can clash, so I think we get a bit too caught up in the busyness of life to realize, this is what I talk about in the Substack, how detrimental to your health not having friends is. Like, how good it is for you to have friends. I mean, I live in Japan. There is there was even a case of a hikikomori. That's what you call someone who is a hermit, and it's a big problem in Japan of people who just stay in their house, their room, and I guess there's someone, like a parent, that's feeding them, but they do not leave the house. They are full hermit. And there was actually a case nearby where I live where there was actually like a fire, and I'm not really, I probably shouldn't really assume what happened, but so the effects of not making connections, therefore becoming withdrawn, and therefore becoming less more and more scared of making connections with other people, is incredibly bad for your health. Obviously, if you're a complete introvert and you love being in the forest like this and you love being alone, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. But personally, I like to have my quiet time, but also love being around other people. So pursuing your friends is incredibly important. And it kind of goes back to another tip, number 5, but number 4 is back to number 1, very confusing. If you feel like you're not part of the party, and I love this, it's another Mel Robbins tip, is why don't you just create the party, like have a barbecue, or have dinner, or organize movie night, or just do something to bring the people around you to you. And yes, I know back in England this would be the case for me when everyone just started working, being a young professional, is that like everyone's so busy that it would be so hard to like meet and create something. But I think once you create like a party or something that just makes it a little bit more of a celebration of some sort, then people make the effort, and that can be a really nice way to sort of bring the party to you. And then tip number 5 is the final one, and I will finish up soon, is message a friend right now. So this is back to number 3. Yes, tip number 3 of pursue your friends. just message someone. Like, you're not a loser, you are not friendless, you have someone in your life that cares deeply about you. We just have a tendency as humans to have a very negative bias in our brain. It's just gotten really dark. I wonder if it's going to rain. It's such nice lighting earlier. Actually, you can probably hear the crickets. Sorry about that. They're very noisy in summer, and people are doing like cutting grass, and yeah, it was really loud. But I thought I'd finally video this. I've been like procrastinating on it for ages. So back to number 5, message a friend now. So this is it. Next week, as I've mentioned at the beginning, if you are still here watching this, thank you so much. We will, or you'll join me hopefully for a vulnerability yin yoga class with a few yummy so yin yoga, if you've never tried it before, it's really good. It's a very slow yoga, so if you're very hyper energy, this is good to calm you down. And if you are really anxious or upset, I should love it because it kind of puts you more into your body in a calm manner. And because you're holding poses for longer, it's kind of uncomfortable, but you kind of learn to bring that energy and that viewpoint inwards because you're not distracted by moving so much, and which is what other forms of yoga like flow or vinyasa, which I guess the same thing. So yeah, and vulnerability. So this whole like connecting and making nurturing friendships goes back to one of the 6 pillars of the 6 pillars in the Feel Good course. It is a course I've created to help you not change who you are, because you have everything within yourself already to feel good, to connect with people, because once you feel good, you feel more joyful. And if you'd like to be on the waiting list for that, the link is below. As usual, this is actually a conversation piece. Again, you can join the Substack if you'd like, so hard to say, to join the on the comments. Otherwise, feel free to just comment below if you have any tips out of the 5 that I've said, if you've tried any of them, and if it worked for you. I hope that this video helped you. I think that friendship is so important. Another thing I wanted to wrap up with, which is in my Substack post, is that we put a lot of importance in our romantic relationship. I mean, think of any Disney movie, etc., when you were growing up, apart from Frozen. I guess I didn't grow up with that. But yeah, there's always a lot of emphasis on individualism, therefore just creating your little like unit as just like a romantic partnership. Yeah, actually, we cannot just depend on a partner for everything. It's too much pressure. One person cannot fulfill all of those boxes. Therefore, you need to have a broad range of friends to support you as well, emotionally. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And that's it from me. Thank you.